call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meeting of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Cedar Grove Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be advertised by having the date, time, and place thereof posted on bulletin boards in the district, published and are transmitted to the Verona Cedar Grove Times and Star Ledger newspapers, filed with the township clerk, and posted on the district's website. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Burke.
Here.
Mr. Pervulovich. Mr. Schoner. Here. Mr. Mandela.
Here.
Mrs. Dye.
Here. The meeting is open to the public for comments on items on the agenda. Seeing none. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Mrs. Dye.
It's been a few weeks since we've kind of all hung out together. How's everybody doing? Oh, everybody's coughing and sneezing up here.
I have no chance tonight.
Not at all, no, forget it. Well, here's some tissues if anybody needs them. Moving on, I think somebody might have a lot of committee reports, Mr. Schoner.
Yes, I'm actually 3 for 3.
We're going to call you Chrissy Dye Jr.
Absolutely.
That's all right. It was a great opportunity to actually kind of introduce myself to the FSAs and the APT, so it was actually kind of good. At the high school, I wanted to bring up that the seniors will be taking part in an assembly called the Scholarship Strategy this upcoming Thursday. Really what it is, it's about tips on how to apply for scholarships. And they bring in the same speaker over that they had last year. And they really hone in on what to do when you're trying to apply for scholarships and how there may be scholarships that you're not aware of that are out there. And that there's a bunch of different things. Also this Thursday, the high school is having their big pink volleyball game in the gym. They're also going to be having, for the 9th, 10th, and 11th graders, PSAT assessments on Wednesday, October 19th in the morning from 8:10 to 11. They're doing it during the day. On Saturday, October 15th, the travel club of the Globetrotters are having a car wash at LRP to raise money from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. They're also going to be having a financial aid night on Tuesday, October 25th in the cafeteria of the high school from 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. The high school is going to be putting on the play Charlotte's Web as well. The biggest thing that the parents who are running the APT would just want to remind people is that to please join the APT, to become actively involved in it. And they were talking about the parents that have signed up already, and they're encouraging more people to sign up. I also went to South End FSA, which was great. They have a lot of cookies and chocolates there, which is fun. But they just really introduced themselves to everything. Mrs. DiMatteo had several teachers there that kind of talked about what was going on, what should be happening. Mrs. DiMatteo talked about bullying, how they go in, they pick books depending on the grades, and they talk about bullying and how it applies to kids and to be able to identify it. They also talked about starting their hot lunch. They're going to be doing it 2 days a week at South End. They're using a company called Simply Gourmet, which is all done online. You just click down what you want. A box lunch appears at the school that morning, and the kids are able to do it. It's all computerized. And at the North End FSA, Mrs. Dyer, the great thing is Mrs. Dyer encouraged all the parents, because the North End FSA meeting was held at South End. And she encouraged all the parents in the room to go look at the bathrooms and to see the potential of how fantastic they look. And it was a lot of fun to have the parents get up and see the huge transformation of how dignified the bathrooms look and how well they are.
Did you see the small toilets, by the way? She was very proud of those.
Just funny side note, Mrs. DiMatteo said she had to talk to the kids because they weren't used to the hand dryers, that they're devising ways to play with water with the hand dryers. So she had to do her talk with the kids about taking your hands full of water and seeing how far the hand dryer will blow it all over. Hot lunch is starting up also at the McBride Avenue School, but more of a modified program they're going to be doing this year until they're back at North End. And they're going to put ice cream on hold for North End right now until they return back to the school. The students at LRP, which is the pre-K and K, we're going to be taking a field trip to the Center Company firehouse. Typically what they used to do when they were at North End is the kids would walk as part of their fire safety and police safety. They would walk to the North End firehouse and all the students would go. So what they were going to, Mrs. Dyer was going to be doing is the kids were going to be escorted by several police over to Center Company, which is across the street. And she was talking about how it would be controlled and very safe. And the big thing that North End is having now is they're having their Tricky Tray, which is a big fundraiser for them. It's going to be April 13th, which is a Thursday. It's at 6 p.m. at the Hanover Marriott in East Hanover. And so that is their big event that they're going to be doing. We were talking about some things that we can do to actually get some baskets ready for them. So it was a lot of fun, and it was great to introduce myself. That's it.
It's fantastic. I attended the rec board meeting last week, and just three things to mention about that is one, a reminder about the breast cancer walk on October 22nd. Basketball tryouts will be at the end of the month. And then something interesting, well, not that it's all not interesting, but really interesting, is they're installing a lightning detection system. And we started talking about how we might be able to use it with the high school. And so, yeah, we have to talk further about that. But that's kind of exciting news to hear about. So more to come on that, but that could prove very helpful. I know Verona's had that for the last couple of years, so it'd be nice to have that for us as well. And that's it. Any other committee reports? Fantastic. Moving on, we have a couple of board presentations. The first one, I guess we'll talk or have is the Cedar Grove softball trip proposal. Is that gonna?
Ready?
Are we ready for that?
The mic. Yeah. Okay.
Good, thank you.
Softball coach at Cedar Grove High School. This will be my third year involved with the softball program, and my second year as the varsity head coach. My first year I was the JV coach there. I would like to present our proposal for the Wide World of Sports Spring Training Trip Florida, March 2017. I would like to take a total of 18 players, 4 chaperones, and 3 coaches. 2 coaches, 1 volunteer that I have. Our softball team has been fundraising for this trip since the beginning of our 2016 season with tagging at the ShopRite, a bunch of different things. And our fundraisers have been set up to offset the cost of our spring training for each athlete. We would be leaving Tuesday, March 14th after school, 6:45 p.m. flight at Newark Airport, United Airlines, and returning Sunday, March 19th, 6:10 p.m. flight out of Orlando International, United Airlines. The cost of airfare would be $409 per ticket, but the good news is that we're able to waive the deposit with United. As of right now, we don't know. We're still dealing with our prices and everything. We just need another meeting. And as for hotel rooms, we have requested pricing for MC Suites, but the property pricing is still not in. There will be 4 players in 2 beds and a mother chaperone on a pull-out couch in each room. Our players will be missing a total of 3 days of school. That would be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. They are responsible for all work, tests, quizzes, projects missed on those days. And activities at the complex of the wide world of sports include batting cages, practice time, and scrimmages. I have requested 8 to 10 games, which is about 2 games per day. And in the past, I know the softball program has participated in the ESPN model of sports training before. I believe this trip would be a great experience for our players to compete against teams from all over the country. It's an experience that our players will remember for years. It also allows us to play in good weather. Usually when we're here, it's cold and we don't get a chance to really get on the field, even though we have the turf. It's, usually not that nice to play. So we have to be in the gym a lot. So this would be, give us a jump start instead of practicing in the gym. And we can also use this spring training as to build team chemistry for our girls. I have 15 returning players who are going to come back to my team, and they're all a great group of girls. I'm happy to be a part of a great program, and we hope this meets with all of your approval, and thank you for your attention to this matter. We look forward to the idea of competing with Florida this season. Thank you.
Sorry. I just had a question.
Yes.
So you signed the contract already with United?
Yes.
You have, okay.
Yes.
You've already signed it.
Even though the trip wasn't approved yet?
But that's only to hold seats.
That's all it does?
Yeah, it's nothing you can cancel, there's no deposits yet
Okay.
down. Parent meeting hasn't been set yet. We're gonna go through that once we were to get approval. If we do.
Was there any consideration to schedule it over spring break?
We
No,
sort of,
because-
Come on.
because
We sort of-
Yeah,
Why we keep
Sorry.
no, can you, yeah,
why spring break's not a good idea is because that's when the regular season's already.
it's already,
involved.
okay,
You're in play.
okay, we're already playing, okay,
April, spring break is the.
15th
13th
or
of
something like
April,
that.
okay.
And we're already in play, you can only play a certain amount of out-of-state
Gotcha.
games,
Okay.
so they would be playing 10.
Yeah, these are scrimmages, they're just practicing.
Okay. Thank you.
So, so you guys have to act by the 9th, or you're not gonna be able to hold those seats on the plane.
Yes,
The 9th of,
December.
Okay.
You have just like it's a
we
verbal
have
hold.
35 seats
Held on the plane
Yeah.
that United holds for you without any money or
Yes.
anything like that. And
Yes.
you have till December 9th to say, to put money,
Yeah,
to put money down on those seats to go with it, or United releases them.
yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
thank you.
Next up is a presentation for the Cedar Grove baseball trip by Coach Nelson.
Killing a lot of trees. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, hold on, let me explain this.
Yes, you do.
Sorry. Okay, I think this is pretty much copy what I had said earlier on. This is a proposal for us to go to the Riffing experience in spring training in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. We would leave the morning of Tuesday, March 21st, and return home Sunday the 26th. I think it was said before why we can't go and why we have to go in March. It's kind of like where everyone goes for spring training. Any team from the Northeast, that's your preseason. So that's the time you normally would head. You would head down, head anywhere. This trip, normally we had went to Disney. That's normally where we had went. I kind of switched it up and went to South Carolina. I went because of, mainly because I was at DePaul Catholic when I coached there, which was the trip we did. And it worked out well for us. we had a good time and we were able to compete well down there, and it was a nice facility and everything. So I figured I might as well stay with this one. So I kind of stayed with this. Plus, I'm not much of a flyer. So I don't. So I said I'm not. So we ended up taking a bus instead. Couple things that I'm going to be taking the next page. Oh, this is just you know, our board standards. Or of course, I made sure I marked that there. The itinerary. We would leave on March 21st from the high school. In the morning, we're taking a bus. We take a bus. We've already kind of found a bus service already for how we can get down there. We would leave at 7 a.m. We get back at 7. We get down there hopefully South Carolina by 7:30 p.m. By then, we would pack dinner the first day. We have dinner in your rooms the first day, and then by then we'll hopefully make the curfew TV and we'd start very early in the morning. The next following morning. March 22nd, 25th, the schedule of the Ripken is finalized normally around Christmas. Actually, it's November 18th. That's the day they told me. They normally try to accommodate requests for scheduling. I requested 8 games right now. We can't, so we'll see if we end up getting that many. We probably won't, but that's where we normally are. We're normally the amount I play like a couple games a day, sometimes during the day. Practice take place in the morning, anytime from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. They have turf and lights. So they tend to, so they'll play games. They have start time, I think, as late as 8 o'clock p.m. Activities Ripken have 17 batting tunnels, 12 bullpen mounds, field of turf, and they're used to practice scrimmage games. 26th, we would head back to Sunday. We will come back, so boys will be back in class again on Monday the 27th. The next thing is a copy of the invite letter. We did have our parent meeting already just to gauge interest. We had that last week. Next page is the list of the 18 players. Actually, it's 17. One is TBD, I had to be determined because I haven't named the 18th kid yet. So I have 17 that I knew I was taking. I'm going to take 3 coaches myself. Coach Jones and Coach Rismini would go. And then, of course, I have parents who would end up coming along too. The weighted, so that's basically that list. This is a copy of our registration form. It just tells you, well, basically how to run down the price for the facility itself. Fundraising efforts that we have. We have shop right cannon, we have a clothing sale, we have a beefsteak trip to tray, we have our Super Bowl pool, and our hit-a-thon home run derby that we have in the spring normally. We didn't have one last year, but we're hoping to bring that back again this year. This is just a copy of our player information sheet. And then the last thing I wanted to make sure I went over was something that I agree with, we make our players sign, and the parents as well. The player was, it says, I understand that our spring training trip is a school function. Any rules put forth by Cedar High School, the school handbook, and my baseball program apply. Any deviation from these rules could result in suspension from the school and or the team, and we're traveling from better baseball players, but also represent our school community, our family, and our team. I make a big deal that we're one of the only schools that goes down to South Carolina from New Jersey. And I make sure that so like other teams, they see, you know, what they see on TV about New Jersey. So we represent a little different than that. So I try to push that on them to make sure that they act the right way. Paul, we did a really good job with that. I plan on bringing that here the same way as well. The parent sons, I commissioned my son that traveled to the Cedar baseball team, spring training, Myrtle Beach. On the trip, my son chaperone can, well, it won't even be our chaperones, I will tell that in a minute. We transport him from the school baseball functions, meals, and leisure time trips. In case of emergency, I give the coaches permission to seek help for medical treatment. And I understand that my son needs to be removed from the trip. It's the responsibility of the parent guardian to make arrangements home. I did this trip several times before. I never had to have send a student home, send a player home. I don't intend on having one here. I know these kids. I've taught these a lot of these kids when they were young, little first graders and stuff. I know how these kids are. I teach them out. I have them through middle school here. So I know what kind of kids they are. They're not the kind of people who are going to cause a problem. The other packet I have is the packet that we got from Myrtle Beach. This gives you a lot of information about where we're going to stay. The Myrtle Village, the condo complex down there. That's where we're going to stay for the duration that we're down there. Our bus will stay with us the entire time and travel with us, so we don't have any issues with travel and nobody having to rent cars or anything to travel us together. So we're going to end up having the bus will stay with us for that time. Then it's just, the students will be, the players will be in their rooms, they'll have their rooms, and we'll have parents and our coaches will be rooms nearby as well to make sure that we're actually not leaving. The way the place is set up, it's very sprawling place. It's not like a hotel, it's a big condo complex. So there's nothing for miles. you gotta take the bus anywhere. So they allocate our kids as well. So I think that's pretty much it. I can go through the rest of the stuff, just stuff that we handed out to the parents and the players otherwise, if there are any questions.
I was just wondering, when does the deposit have to be made?
We have until 18th
Of,
November.
so right now, they're just theoretically just holding the spot?
Yeah, and they normally move kind of quickly on that. They normally do, they fill up fast. So we gotta make sure that we're definitely set up. That's why I have my kids making sure that they're getting the back permission slips by the end of the week to make sure that we know for sure.
I have a question just in general. It's been a while since we had these trips, so I don't remember, so I apologize in advance if this is not an appropriate question, so I'm sorry. If enough money is not raised through fundraising, and I'm assuming then the cost, the burden would go to the parents, what happens if we have families that don't have that disposable money? What happens? Do those kids not go?
Via fundraising?
Well, we
Like what happens if we don't raise enough, they don't, the organization doesn't raise enough money for?
We have enough money saved now to be able to honestly pay for the trip with us, with the children, with the kids paying it now. That's what we have, adding in money by, or the commission slips in rather, by the 14th. So we know for sure who's able to come and who's not. Because if we can't, we don't have the numbers, then we can't do it. But in past years here, we've
never had that problem?
Never.
Okay, great.
Normally kids want to go.
I hope that wasn't an inappropriate question, so I just was wondering what would happen.
So does the fundraising then potentially decrease the cost per player, depending on how much you raise?
We
Or
kind of, the Diamond Club and my Booster Club and I sat down and we kind of went over what we could normally pull in, I guess, for the different fundraising activities that we do for the year. And we kind of matched last year, what we said if we made what we made last year, and we're kind of adding things. So I
Got
think
it.
we're gonna be okay.
Okay.
So I think that we shouldn't have an issue with the amount of money we're, that's one of the things I've been so impressed by, is how giving the district, that people around here are to the people and to the programs here. I'm amazed at how much money we're able to pull in, because people help us out, and people are looking out for the community and stuff, and it's a really good thing, because I mean, even in the council meeting, we weren't able to fundraise, but we're able to fundraise, it's pretty cool.
got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Straight to next on our list is what I look forward to every year is goal setting and ethics training.
Oh my God.
Dennis, you want to? It's all you.
It's on. Okay. I can do whatever you like. I'll go back to that. I haven't.
Anxiously awaiting.
Yes.
I didn't even read those. I read the
A
agenda.
little hunched over. I was trying to teach my son how to hold a block downfield for his football team. I shouldn't be doing that. Those days are over.
You guys don't have to sit through this if you don't want to.
Oh, but
You're not, you won't make us feel bad.
Come on, you haven't been
Unless-
anxiously waiting for
Unless
this
you have
moment on
any
the
input
agenda.
of what you want us to do, you know, you don't have to.
Have a good evening.
Bye.
verify that I did this.
You're not insulting us, don't worry.
So I'm going to try and keep on my remarks short and to the point. I'm going to start with school ethics, and then I'll do goal setting. I do not do a long presentation like school board's reps will do. I'll keep this short, and hopefully you can take something away from the presentation. You are required by law to review the code of ethics at a public board meeting. I have provided to you and to the board secretary a copy of the code of ethics. I have districts that will actually read them into the record to verify that they actually have reviewed them at a public record, at a public meeting. I'm not going to do that. In fact, what I'm going to talk about is not even in the presentation. There are 5 C's to ethics as a school board member. Let's see if I can make sure I can do this. Commitment, conflicts, claims, chain of command, confidentiality. 5 C's, okay? So I'll just review each one in turn. This will be your ethics training. Hopefully it'll take no longer than 6 minutes. Commitment. As a Board of Education member, you have to be committed to the district. That means time. Whether you serve on a committee, whether you serve at board meetings, whether it's negotiations, finance, all of the things that go on in the district requires that the individual board member be committed to that process. And commit yourself to the code of ethics, and commit yourself to the policies that govern the school district. So the first C, in understanding what your ethical roles are, is your commitment to the district. Second thing, usually what comes up when we do ethics trainings are your conflicts. Do I have a conflict? Can I serve in this capacity? Should I be on negotiations if I have a relative who is in the NJEA? I'm not going to give you Mike Kelber's 2.5-hour speech on recent ethics advisory opinions about that particular topic. Conflicts can be summarized really in two ways: blood and money. Okay? Blood and money. If you are in business with an individual who has a contract with the Board of Education, you may have a conflict. That may mean that you have to recuse yourself from voting on whatever that particular resolution or agenda item is. It may mean other things as well in the event that there's such a significant relationship that may bar your participation at the board level. That's their money aspect, is whether you have their contracts, right? Blood is, who are your relatives? Who are you related to? In October, 1 year ago, this month, a number of advisory committees came out regarding what a relative is and what that means in terms of whether you can serve in negotiations, whether you can vote on personnel matters, whether you can evaluate the superintendent. And a number of these advisory opinions really tried to pull back what had happened in the summer, which is that if you have a distant relative who lives somewhere, that person could bar you from any kind of participation. I had districts who were invoking what's called the doctrine of necessity simply to get a committee together to bargain because somebody would find that some cousin they never talked to before was an actual teacher in the NJA, which barred their participation from negotiations. So blood also gives rise to conflicts. What I handed out, actually, is a review of these advisory opinions, so I'm actually going to short circuit that and just simply summarize the conflicts by blood and money. And if you have a relative who's in the NJA, it could create an issue with respect to who you or what you can participate in and what you can vote for. Any questions on that so far? I've gotten 2 C's, I got to get to the third C. Claims. As a Board of Education member, any member of the public can make an ethical claim against you. They can say that you didn't adhere to your ethical duty. If they make a claim, they would go to what's called the School Ethics Commission. School Ethics Commission is in place specifically to adjudicate any ethical claims against you. The remedies is there's a jail, they draw and quarter you, and tar and feather you. No, they don't do those things. It's usually a reprimand or a censure. They will adjudicate claims in the event that an ethical claim is against an individual board member. Fairly certain that you're not going to have the services of the board attorney. The board attorney is there to serve the entity, not the individual. So in the event that a board member is facing these claims, depending upon the nature of the claim, you may have to get outside counsel, okay? School ethics claims are bad things for a district, but they can be made. The claims are brought again to the School Ethics Commission. Chain of command, this is a big one, the 4th C. As a Board of Education member, you really have no power. The entity itself is the operating entity. Individual board members really have no power. When you are on the soccer field or the baseball field or softball field, watching your student athlete participate in these events, and somebody pulls you aside and says, I have a problem with this Mrs. Smith, I have a problem with Mr. Jones, I need you to resolve this, you can't commit to anything. You're not empowered to do anything. The only thing you can say is, why don't you follow the chain of command? And in this case, for you guys, the CEO is sitting just down the way from you. Refer them to the chain of command. If a parent comes to you and complains, why don't you bring it to that teacher? Why don't you bring it to the principal if you've already done that? And avoid appearing to run the district, okay? That's why I put chain of command in there. And also a recognition that Superintendent is the only one who can make recommendations and resolutions, and that's what you vote on, okay? The fifth C is confidentiality. Fifth C is confidentiality, holding what is confidential. Easy things to just pick off, just to remember, student information you might learn about in executive session, highly confidential information. Personnel information that's discussed in executive session, highly confidential information, cannot be shared. I should not have led that tackling. I did 3 hours this morning in ASA on a program, and that was beating me down. But in terms of confidentiality, those are two biggies that you might hear every board meeting, things regarding personnel and items regarding student information. Other issues that might be confidential, attorney-client privilege issues, and certain financial transactions, okay? But you have an obligation to maintain the information you receive as highly confidential. We've had ethics cases in Union County where a board member shared information with their spouse, who shared it with the PTA president, who shared it with the individual teacher, and it all came back around. And it was very, very bad. It actually led to a divorce, too. So recognize that you do have that obligation to this Board of Ed. Now, does anybody have any questions? I told you the 5 C's, and I'm gonna keep it simple. I'll keep just to the 5 C's. Anybody have a question about the School Ethics Act? Does anybody have a question about the Code of Ethics that's in the handout that I gave out tonight? You guys are all pretty much experts. When we deal with individual questions that you may have, I'm just very careful. I usually put this disclaimer at the beginning of my remarks when I talk about ethics. If it's going to be a specific question, you have to just be a little bit careful because that might be something we would discuss in executive session. This is just a training, just to make sure that we put the School Ethics Act in front of you and we have an acknowledgement that we understand what that Code of Ethics means. We good?
And just so you know, as a board, we, at our reorg meeting, we always read the Code of Ethics out loud.
So you do it.
We do it
already.
we do it every year.
Perfect. We good there? Another handout. And then I have an easel, which is very school boards like.
Excuse me.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Okay, there's a couple.
Mike shared with me your goals from the last time you were all together. I just printed them out. And I said, if we're gonna talk about goal setting as a board, it's always good to take a look at what we did a year ago, okay? So if you give me a second.
Excuse me, thank
I'll get my
you.
easel. Hopefully it works properly. It's,
It's like a germ fest here.
yeah. That's right. It must be good if I have something missing from this. So talking about goals, you're always going to be thinking about the strengths and weaknesses that you may have as a board as you perceive it as individual board members. When you wrote these goals, you may have been trying to address certain strengths and weaknesses.
Got it.
I have districts who need to keep their goals in place, which is fine, because they may not feel that they've achieved those goals, or to write new ones. It's entirely up to you. But what is important is at the end of the day, you want to have an understanding as to whether or not you as a board accomplish the goals that you set out for yourselves. So I handed out this document so that you can think about whether or not you achieve those goals. So far, so good. Anybody remember these goals?
Yeah, absolutely.
This can be a free exchange, you guys can talk, in fact, it'd be
We tend to keep
preferable.
the 4 high-level goals similar year after year, right?
We didn't,
There's,
Haven't we?
I don't feel like we've
there's 3 here, right?
fulfilled.
Definitely number 1.
Right.
Definitely number 1. We just, I think, modify it a little bit
Right.
depending on what we want to
Right.
focus on. But yeah, we always
And
have that one.
facilities and communication.
Definitely communication too,
yeah,
yeah, and just
so-
facilities, I guess, depending on what we're doing.
Yeah. So it's always kind of tended to be those 3 big items, and then they change every year. The guts of them tend to change.
Okay, looking at the guts of what's in front of you, and what you approved the last time, is there anything that you need to emphasize more or less?
Why don't we start with number 1 and work our way?
Okay.
I think that still needs to be there.
Yeah, I know, I'm just looking to see if there's any different wording on any of it, but
Well,
overall.
the wording is not our goal, right? Is this wording, Mike, from our goal setting last year, or was it more an update from you? It looks more like an update.
Yeah, that would have been sort of, after our discussion, myself adding meat to the bone, if you will.
Okay,
sort of-
so we would say that we want a goal to be student achievement, college and career readiness, which I think we agree.
Right,
We clearly
right.
want that as a goal.
Right.
And then you go back and you fill in the,
Trying to decided what that looks like.
Right, for instance, we'll talk about next generation science standards coming into
Right.
alignment.
Right.
Updating to the New Jersey student learning standards, for instance, due by September of 17. So those are the kinds of
any
things that-
additional AP courses you might want to throw out there for next year. you know.
Precisely.
Those could be district goals, board goals might be
Right.
more of communication. Are we providing support to the superintendent to go forward with these curriculum initiatives? So when I looked at your goals, just so you know, excuse me, I was thinking more along lines of like district goals, things that you wanted to accomplish in the classroom. As a board, you really don't have that. I mean, you're engaged and you provide that support, but you're also financial, you're fiduciary trustees to this community. So when I think of district goals, like continue to support these efforts of 21st century learning. That's sort of like more of a board goal probably. The district goal being maybe more meat to the bone, as Mike was
Okay.
pointing out, and translating that into exactly what those curriculum pieces are.
All right, the number 1, right? That's what,
What's that?
the student achievement. Obviously, we want to keep that as a
Right.
goal.
But then
Increase- Go ahead.
to
Right,
come back
increase student
with
achievement.
the information of what we're.
Well,
gonna-
he's talking about for us,
Right,
district goals.
right,
We don't
just-
have the meat.
right.
Mike
Or
has
board
that.
goals.
We
I'm
have,
talking about board
you're
goals.
talking
Right.
about board goals.
That
These are
big-
the high level
that
ones,
big
the big
Right.
ones. So student achievement remains an
Right.
important goal for the board.
Yes.
And would you say student achievement, or would you say like increasing student achievement, or is there,
Well.
I mean, obviously, that's what you want to
Right,
do,
right,
right?
right.
Right,
Continuing to support
Right.
student achievement. Now, student achievement could cover a whole bunch of things. Obviously, we're involved with students. But this could also translate into professional development, supporting professional development initiatives that would enhance student achievement. This could be supporting technology innovations and upgrades that could enhance student achievement, if they can. And I know Mike's looking at me like, where did you come up with this stuff?
right.
I'm not an educator. I'm an attorney.
Right.
So,
This look was, you're reading my mind, because we'll be attending the Future Ready Conference next month, our tech committee, and professional development, we're working with Conquer Math, and so the things, you've touched on 2 core sort of initiatives for the 16-17 school year, so I'm right in lockstep with you.
So, I mean, you can write that in as a board goal, support professional development initiatives to enhance student achievement. Support and, evaluate proposals for technology innovations that would enhance student achievement. Those are things that would probably fall under this headline.
So we create the headline, and then Mike,
Well, I would help Mike to.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
You put, just so I have my thoughts on this. Surprised this will actually work. But that would be the thing, professional development technology, right? Communication was a topic in one.
right,
As a board, you find that that's a strength or a weakness in terms of your communication with each other, communication with the community. I'm sorry. Communication as a board, communication with the community, communication with your school-based community, communication with your non-school-based community, like community members, potentially your seniors, whoever, who in any given municipality may, be great supporters of the district, and in others, they, can be problematic. So my question is, how's your communication, and is that something you need to have as a goal? I'm bringing this up because these are just topics that come up.
I mean, I think we've come a really long way with communications. I know it's been an issue in the past, and we've made great strides, but I think personally I'd want to keep it as a goal, just so it's right there we don't lose focus on it, in all honesty, because we can always improve.
Yeah, I mean, now, and I am not a supporter of it, but that's because I'm a little bit old school, but social media, how things get out there's so many different avenues
Right.
you can go down. That's why a lot of people keep communication up there and say, well, we're not doing a good enough job with our
I think we can always
Twitter
improve.
account or whatever
Yes,
that is. So we can do that.
absolutely.
Is that an N?
No, that was an M. Uh-oh.
She's going. All right, so now, what else have we got?
I mean, we have facilities upgrade as our goal last year.
It's a never-ending goal, I think.
But I think so too with the housing development. I think that has to remain, what's gonna happen to facilities with the influx of students and planning for that. I don't think that goes away.
Yeah, but do we need that as a goal for
Right.
next year? Because that's gonna be a little
Well,
bit
it's
down
really,
the
this
road.
is really this year.
Right, it's this,
That's what I mean.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think facilities remains a huge goal because of where we're at with our facility upgrades. I think it definitely, we've spent most of our time as a board this school year dealing with facilities upgrades. So I think it definitely deserves the place at the goal level. Because we're talking about
You
right
wanna
now what
complete
we're,
your projects.
Right,
You want to
yeah.
get into your schools,
Right.
use them as
Yes.
they were designed.
right.
Um,
Would we be doing this next year for next year? If we were talking about next school year, but we're not, we're talking about the year that we're in.
Right, I guess so. So what's, I guess, Mike?
So then
If-
everything would have to be reworded here.
Well, yeah, but
Right,
I guess,
yeah,
Mike,
yeah.
what are you thinking as far as if we put facilities upgrade? Obviously, let's
Right, 'cause this
finish the project we've started, which
I don't
hopefully
think
within
it
the
should
next couple of
be-
month, that's where we are.
Right, we are
Right.
up to our
I don't
eyeballs
think it
in
should be
facility
called
upgrades.
upgrades.
For the foreseeable
Facilities.
future, you're talking complete the project
Yeah, it
November,
shouldn't be
December,
called
punch list
Right.
They're
items,
gonna
a
and
heading.
spring.
Right, they're gonna rephrase it.
It's a substantial amount of our time as a team, focused on completing the facility upgrades projects. So certainly it's on all of our,
Is there any other I know I'm not minimizing it at all, but is there, other than the facility upgrades, those little projects we've got going on now, that'll take us, is there anything else that you would put under that category as well?
in terms of facilities.
Yeah,
Wow, we've been so, I don't want to say myopic, but
No,
we're
I
so
know,
focused
right.
on bringing those to fruition. We're actually looking forward to taking a bit of, catching our breath over the summer.
That's why I think it should be called facilities completion.
Yeah, no,
I
I
don't
agree.
think
It
it should be
shouldn't be
called
upgrade, no,
upgrades. I
right.
don't think,
Just
I'm agree
facility.
with Mike.
Yeah,
Like,
like
I
that.
think that after this bond referendum, we need a breather
Right.
for a year to regroup and then go from there. So that's why I think it should just be facilities completion. Or even referendum completion.
Music to my ears.
Yeah, because
Right.
it is a referendum.
Right.
It's a referendum, it's not
It's
really
not like you-
facilities. I would
Right.
call it
No.
right,
referendum.
and that, I
No,
guess that's
and
what I
it's
was
what we're
stuck on
doing right now.
facilities,
Right.
because, we're not really, other, when we get done with that aspect, and there is an end.
That's why I don't think it should be called that.
Right,
Right.
I don't think facilities should even be the word. Because the other Mike's gonna have a lot of paperwork to do for bonds and
Right.
everything else, and there's gonna be a lot of behind the scenes stuff, so I think it's,
Project completion? Is
I
that-
just
is that
think
a
it'd be
word?
called,
Different word.
referendum
right,
completion.
2014
That's it.
referendum completion.
Yeah, and then that'll be the whole
Right.
year,
Right.
that you guys just complete all the projects
right.
and just focus on that, 'cause
Right, because after that, it's not like we're embarking on any other big thing, like in the spring or anything like that, I mean.
Right, and at this point, this summer, fall, then we're transitioning, right? We pivoted to the building in town, and then, what our plan
Right,
is.
right.
to sort
So
of
I'm
absorb.
thinking,
That's
Right.
the next goal
because
setting
I think,
anyway.
yeah,
our
It's
next
not
goal
this-
setting, we
Right.
usually do it in June, July.
Right.
Then we decide whether we even
Right.
need a facilities as a a category, it might be something else.
Right.
That would take that spot.
I agree with that.
Okay. I understand the facility's not, but you're talking about the referendum
Yes,
closeout.
yes,
You're talking about getting yourself out of the woods,
Right.
regrouping. and
Right.
considering-
Done,
Because
complete,
it's nothing
so-
more than the referendum.
Correct.
Right, everything
We
associated
have no
with the
other facility
referendum.
stuff
Right.
going on.
Right, and that's why I paused on that, because we don't have any other facility
Nothing else.
project, right.
And the reason why that was a category just in history is we were making 5-year plans of what we wanted to complete. And sort of what we did with the bond referendum, we took a lot of that and we just crunched it all into that. Because we were looking at how we were gonna do things, you know, throughout the years, but I think what we did was, so that's why I think we're gonna take a breather from facilities
I
for a
think so.
while after this year.
Absolutely.
So,
I will tell you that it's fine, this is a fine goal. Usually, district board goals, 3, 4, 5 maybe. Other topics that have found their places in board goals have been cost-saving initiatives, like shared services. Oftentimes, people want to at least put as a goal opportunities for where, if you have or haven't engaged in shared services, which I mean I know you're familiar with, you may have been doing, that's sometimes a goal. I know getting ready for the park, the student achievement issue was more tech sophisticated and facility sophisticated because you were looking to get your facilities ready to handle the park. We're kind of through those woods now. But I don't, as I'm talking, saying these things out loud, I don't know if there's any hanger-ons that you're looking to improve. You talk about your facilities, you talk about shared service, can you save money? I don't know if there's any given department or issue, department or school-based issue that's now creating an issue that maybe wasn't there before. You talk about increasing enrollment, probably something that's a good thing, by the way, but something you may have to deal with in the future as you try and pull off your 2014 referendum. But you're going to have to start planning for that. Unfortunately, as you're closing on one referendum, you'd have to consider that.
yeah, just reword it and something else.
I've had people or districts have issues with special ed costs. Is there any way to deal with that? And unfortunately, as an attorney, I can tell you that special ed education costs.
Actually, that probably should be one goal this year, special ed, because we're in the midst of an audit. And so we will get those results.
Oh.
So special services. So I would think that.
You're being audited by the county office?
No, we did it- we initiated our own.
We've hired somebody to audit
Oh, okay.
us. So we will be getting those results this year and then take.
What was the stated objective of the audit?
It was from the finance committee and just looking at savings, till it's below payroll. It's the biggest component of our budget. So it was like, let's look and see how we're doing there. Right? I mean, I think that was.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just looking to see what kind of wording he's,
I mean, I'd have to
Right.
put some nice language
Right.
on that, but essentially what you're talking about is the fact that we've already ordered an audit.
Yeah.
At some point, you're gonna get the results.
right,
And at some point, those results have to translate into, hopefully they translate into suggested modifications. And I'm not talking about the specific IEPs, but even potentially to going back to facilities, do we have space for an inclusion program? Do we have space for this? Can we bring these students back if we were to obtain 3 more buildings? I'm sorry, because I know he's dying to get done with this referendum, but is there savings long-term when you can provide certain services in district as opposed to sending them out? So this is actually a good goal and something that will probably be a launch pad issue for the 17-18 school year when you start to plan for that, because then you'll have an opportunity to digest these results and think about what's a realistic thing that can be done to maybe help in this department.
Absolutely.
Everybody is looking here,
Yep.
okay? Certainly it's something that comes up quite a bit in budget preparation, so, and that's probably knocking on your door. The other issues, I said budget.
I was gonna say, like, one area, I don't know if this is a goal, I'm just throwing it out there just to brainstorm for a fifth one. Since we're using a lot of our capital reserve, can a goal be to figure out ways to build up that reserve? Or is that, would not
No,
be?
it's a great goal. There's, you know.
There's a
we
spot on the
wanna-
finance committee if you're interested.
Because we were in a healthy position, and unfortunately now with everything that has happened, we're not. And it's a concern, so I didn't know if that was a goal.
And the bigger piece is that this year, we're not gonna have the money to roll into it.
Right,
Because of the expenses, the additional expenses to the operating budget,
right.
so. And that complicates it.
I'm not gonna, address it
Yeah,
specifically
right, yeah.
because what you can put in cap
Right,
reserve
right,
is gonna
right,
be regulated, and how you handle that is certainly regulated. Keeping an eye on your budget and having an understanding of how the budget operates, and hopefully, not necessarily for 17-18, but the
But
sustainability
beyond, yeah.
of 18-19 and going forward, when you may have a depleted cap reserve, what does that do to you, how can you build it up? Those are things that certainly could be a goal. I'd be looking at it from a more general perspective.
Kind
how
of
can-
financial planning, kind of.
Financial planning. Do you take waivers? Are you at the 2% cap or below historically? And you have good audits?
Yes,
So you've got a strong financial piece already. But I think we can write something with respect to, looking at and evaluating cap reserve to recuperate from where you are. Those are my words. I'm gonna figure out a better way to
Yeah.
write it, but I'm just gonna write
Recovery
budget.
plan.
I mean, do you
Yeah,
think
like a
that's worth
recovery
making a goal? Like, is that,
Yeah, I'll tell you that typically when I'm looking at goals for finance, I'm probably dealing with a district that's had some bad audit reports. I'm probably looking at a district that's constantly looking to go over cap and seeing budgets voted down. That's usually when I'm dealing with, when the board is really gonna be focused, laser focused on budget, is when that's happening on an annual, we look at the last 5 years, and you've been over cap, and your budgets are going down, where's this problem? Why is there a gap between our needs and what our budget looks like, and why the community's not understanding our position? Because you guys are the, you're the lifeblood. You tell the administration what's happening in the community. So, that's usually when I'm dealing with budgets. You guys have had a very healthy cap reserve. It's a good time to look at this, because you're not only gonna look at, capital reserve, how can we recuperate, what does the timeline look like? But you might even be looking at how can we get some of this back now? Is there any way to recuperate it, recoup some of this money at this point? That's gonna involve more meetings, probably with me. But I warned you about that one.
Sure did.
But no, that's fine. I just tell you the typical. The typical is we get a lot of audit exceptions,
I guess it's because I'm very conservative when it comes to money, and when I see what we've put out this year, I
And we've
just want to
always had
make.
a cushion.
We've always had a healthy, budget, and I guess I want to put us back to that
Sure.
point, and that'll make me feel,
I have some language that I'll share with Mike about, looking this from a goal perspective, but I think I understand what you're looking for. 5 is, this is an ambitious set of goals. It's always good to check in on how you're doing with these goals, like once you approve them at your next meeting, and I'll shoot to have these written up for your next meeting. And then, looking back into these goals in March or April is gonna be a good idea, to have a sense for, have we done what we can do? And are we looking at these in the right way? And by the way, in March, you will obviously have taken a very, very hard look at this. That's already gonna be done, and this hopefully is also.
Yeah.
And I'd like to think that, you know, whatever we can immediately do as a result of the special services audit, that we'd want to act on that, you know, fairly quickly.
To the extent you can.
Right.
You know, recognize that IEPs are annual contracts. So change of services is gonna be an issue. You're looking at probably some planning.
No, I was thinking more of if it comes back as far as a process issue or ways that we can improve on that or something like that. You know, not necessarily, you know, bringing kids back in district or, you know, creating new classrooms or anything like that. That obviously requires a lot of planning. But if there's something that we can improve upon, like the process itself, then that's something I'd like to think that we could act on immediately.
No, it's great. No, you should be able to. You know, when people were going through school security audits, and that was a big thing, there's always easy things that can be acted on, all hanging fruit. The numbers in the windows of the classrooms and share it with the chief of police so he has an understanding of your buildings. You know, things that are low hanging fruit, you may have that. Who knows? You gotta get the audit and have a look and see what you can do. So yes, that's why that's a good piece.
Well, so when you're doing the language for communication, because what is here, can we turn, you know, this is pretty standard, and so, you know, how do you work the language on that? Like communications, like periodically, the Cedar Grove Board of Education will provide information and updates, you know, I guess I would like something a little bit more,
Definitive.
than periodically sounds like, well, occasionally we do something.
Like, what are you seeing people put in their communication goals? Like, not to
Yeah.
reinvent the wheel, but what are you seeing?
You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
It feels so, this feels like, okay.
More
all
check
right.
the box situation.
Exactly, and that's not good.
It's a post-it note.
Because that's what this feels like now, so this just feels like, you know.
Check in the box.
Chrissy said, it just feels like a check in the box thing.
And I feel
Okay.
like we didn't do a good job.
So
I don't feel like we did a good job here.
a lot of people focus on a few things. Do you have a social network presence?
Yes.
Okay.
As a Board of Ed?
Well, I thought you meant as the,
Do
like,
you-
superintendent, the principals.
no, but-
Oh, sorry, what, us?
Who?
So you asked for what do people talk about? When they talk about goals, what are they looking at? How up to date is your website? Does your website function? Is it user friendly? Is it something that your
Well,
community can?
It's gotten
Fair enough.
friendlier.
Did we get the link for the policies up so that I can search?
Yes, it's
for-
there, absolutely.
Okay, it is?
Yes, go to Board of Ed, yes, it's there.
Okay.
Just type in the search box and
For policy searches, and you can
you
just
got
search,
any
okay.
keyword or phrase and it.
That was just something
Great.
that there's been lots of complaints about, is trying to find the policies. But we bought the link through Strauss Esme so that
Correct.
anyone can search ours, so, website. But I mean, historically, people are not happy with the website. There's stuff from February 5th of last year, school will be closed.
Well, under the archive section there would be.
No,
yes.
right on the front page, in the lower right-hand corner.
Okay.
So, I don't know, and this is a problem, it's not a problem to Cedar Grove, it's a problem to website management. Someone in the business needs to own it, not the technology department, but someone on the business side needs to look at it and say, this is fresh, this is new, this doesn't apply anymore, versus leaving it to the technologists to update.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know what the fix is there, I'm just saying that I think generally speaking, our website is not user-friendly, and it's kind of static, it's not updated. But that's also because people tweet and use social media, much more now than websites.
Much more.
Well, you may want to, when you talk about communication in the 21st century, you're going to be talking about your portal, your online portal, your website. You're going to talk about your social media presence. You're going to talk about whether or not you're getting out to the community other information, whether it's the newsletter or news media. I should put media under there. You already televise and broadcast your meetings, which is great. A lot of districts who are K-12 will move their meetings around the community simply because people who might be in North End don't come to the middle school, people who go to high school are going to come, you know, whatever it is. I've had different boards look at that issue. You know, newsletter, news media, social media, website. Communications here, if we're talking about communicating with the public. If we're talking about communicating as board members with each other, we're probably going to be talking about something else. I mean, if there's something that's going on and you as board members don't feel you have enough communication, or you have too little communication, or too much, that's something that may have to be addressed based on how you communicate and making sure we don't violate the Open Public Meetings Act as we go along doing that. But when you're talking about communication with your public, you know, you're really probably focused on these 4 domains right now. Website, this question. Social media, I don't know if that's run by the Board of Education. If you have a board or a district Twitter feed or Facebook page, you know, I'm sure certain individuals do. You have social media policies with respect to use of social media and the appropriateness of doing so. BOE meetings, as I pointed out, depends upon the district. You already televise your meetings, so anybody can see your meetings. They don't have to wait for you to come around to South End to come to a meeting. And then newsletter, news media. You know, is it a routine issue that the local paper is getting an opportunity to get access to what's going on so they can publish and get your message or your issues out if necessary? So those are sort of the communication pieces. When you're looking for a more focused goal, I'm probably going to then return it with a question, as an attorney would. What do you feel is the failure so that you can address the goal? If you think it's working but could be better, then you're probably looking at which of these is probably where you want to focus your efforts.
Didn't we do, I'm gonna ask the guy who's been on here forever, with the newspaper, didn't at one point we used to have a little, like, superintendent corner, or what's going on?
It was
or-
Board of
As a
Ed.
board member.
Was it a board member?
The board president put it out once a month.
Oh,
We would
crap,
put
really?
a,
I'm glad I brought that up.
we would,
He didn't write it. You didn't,
Really?
the board president didn't
No,
write it.
it was the old superintendent.
No,
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 he
it
didn't.
wasn't. No, it was a board member.
I'm curious to hear more about this.
No, it was a
I'm not
board
anymore,
member,
never
right?
mind.
Mrs. Di, it was a board member that did it.
at the
Okay,
time, a board member did it, but we just called it, you know, I forgot, but it was every month we did something from the Board of Ed.
okay.
Which I think we should go back to. And then another thing that we used to do that I thought was really, you know, it was a did you know type of thing once a week that was just a blurb out. So like right now, a did you know would be, did you know that the locker rooms at the high school or whatever, we're almost complete. You know, you just give like an update of
The
something.
mini toilets are
Or
installed.
did you know that, it's just
Right.
a quick, just
That
like
was an
a
e-blast, right,
factual
to
thing.
all
Yeah.
parents, right?
All the parents,
Right.
it would go out.
I remember that part.
Once a week.
Okay,
And it was just
Once
our
a
way
week.
of just keeping in touch with the community and just letting them know what the board was up to or what was going on in the schools or something like that.
So you're talking about regular digital contact?
I feel like we've gotten away from that. You know, of course, when you don't have it on the schedule and it's not routine, but I found that the community felt more informed and connected when we did those kind of things.
Okay.
So I think so like when you handed this out before, my first thing when I saw communication, I as a board member felt that we dropped the ball this year with, you know, what we did as far as communicating to the community, and I think we just need to do a better job of it as a board.
Well, you know, so we'll leave this as a goal, and we'll write it to be a little bit more focused towards regular release of information to the community, and we can address it in that way. You as a board will have to discuss what's the vehicle for that? Is the vehicle a Board of Ed Facebook page? Is the vehicle a Twitter handle? Is the vehicle a did you know on the website and an e-blast could be pretty easy to put together? And then who's responsible for making sure that gets done? So that's more board action, but I think now that we've had this discussion, we can write the goal a little bit more focused. And then you guys should talk about how best to do that and how effective that
Because I think we do a great job of communicating when it comes to big things.
Yes.
Like when it comes to the bond referendum, when it comes to the budget, when it comes to things like that, I feel that we are very proactive, we're very ahead of the game, we keep the community informed. I'm talking about our normal, everyday things of what we're doing. Yes, we go out to FSAs and we go and we talk about the superintendent's report and we, give that information out, but I think we don't do it consistently, and I think that's where we drop the ball.
And that more or less plays into why I brought, I said about communication, that this just feels, for me, it just feels very vague, and we do this, we do the Cedar Grove Times, they can get the thing in here, it's just something more specific.
Where does the Coffee Talk Forum fit into all this? As you know, in our strategic plan, the 3-year plan that we put together, this year I'll be launching the Coffee Talk program once a month at each school. We'll have evening sessions, morning sessions. We'll be talking about that a bit more later tonight. I think that fits
would
in.
go in.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think that's a lot for what you're part of the communication. What I was just talking about is I think as a board, we've been dropping the ball. Like not your part. I think what we need to get out there, like get your information more out there, like from your reports. Yes, we do it at FSA meetings, but we need to share that in our own information that we do, and that could be part of our monthly letter we give, or whatever, our editorial, whatever you want to call it, to the newspaper. But you're part of the community. Like I think if that was part of the goal, then that's an awesome part of your extension from you.
It seems a lot of times that different people rely on different aspects to get information. And so while Mike, you do a great job of superintendent's report, if you really read it, you know what's going on.
It's amazing.
But a lot of people don't.
Right.
And so for me, it's more or less hitting all those buttons where somebody may be doing something in particular, us as a board, to make sure that everyone knows about it. So when somebody feels, you talk about, someone's like, well, we have it out on all these different forums. And, we're everywhere. If you're not following one of those many different things, it's not us. We're putting it out there because you're very thorough. You can get the meetings. Someone wants to watch them, they can.
Like one of our did you knows could be, do you know that the superintendent has this coffee talks, and these are people you can contact for information. Like that's an avenue, so that would be something we would let out there,
Well, I want to make you feel a little bit better. There will be a board presence at each of these coffee clubs. That was the
Yes,
understanding,
it was.
right? That
Yes.
it would be myself and one of you at each of them.
It should be almost, I
Can't
just
wait.
want for us as a board to make sure we're hitting all those boxes.
Good
because
call.
different people look at different boxes and don't look at the other box. Because when I come and get the Board of Ed meeting, superintendent's report, it's really very thorough. I mean, there's like nothing's left, but I actually read it. A lot of other people don't. And so whatever that may be, we've hit them all.
So you're the one who reads it, okay.
I do read it.
I wasn't sure who was.
But it's.
But like a did you know from us could be,
Yeah.
do you ever take the time to read the
read
superintendent's report? That's kind of what I'm going at, is like,
Yes,
exactly,
yes.
exactly.
Yes.
So that kind of stuff, I think we got away from, and I'd like to go back to that as a board.
Great.
That's absolutely inappropriate. Oh, absolutely. Is there anything else? I'm sorry.
No, it's all good, all good.
I think that's great.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
All right, so I'll sharpen these up. I'll email them to Mike. You have a meeting coming up, so approve them, and then check in on them. And then they'll have value to you. If you don't look at them again until, the next time, they're not valuable. So you do want to have a check. Okay?
And when do you usually do that?
Well, we're already in, right? So, it would probably be good to check in on it in January, February,
okay.
check in on March and April, check in at the end of the school year, and see by the end of the school year, have we been able to address, my post-it
You have to
notes
move,
in
you have to
the
move,
way,
that's fine.
but have we been able to address the audit?
Right.
These are all very doable goals, given what you have here. Facilities closeout should be done by June. Audit should be done by June. Your budget is gonna be done by June. These communication issues, you know, they're always gonna probably be communication issues. Your student achievement issues, you know, those, you know, ensuring support for professional development initiatives, you know, as the superintendent recommends these things, you know, you wanna make sure you're checking in on, you know, that we're supporting those initiatives. So these are things you absolutely can check in on a year and see how you did.
And especially, we're gonna be talking about implementing, you know, we're gonna be working on them.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like rehoning, I guess, for lack of a better word.
Are there any other ones you wanna add?
I think 5's good.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no more.
Right.
No
You guys
way.
wanna talk about ethics?
No,
I think we're good on ethics.
All right.
We're good.
Thank you very much, everybody.
No,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
I'll be here. I'm just gonna close this up.
Thank you, thank you.
Should I move on really past it?
I know. Thank God it's a short.
Okay.
Do you have a report tonight? No. Do you?
Speaking of communication, you know,
All right, moving
This will be
on.
a quick agenda.
From the Office of the Business Administrator and Board Secretary, under minutes, I have a motion for B1 through B4.
So move.
Second.
B1 is a motion to approve the public and executive minutes of September 30th, 2016. B2 is a motion to approve the budgetary transfers for the month of September 2016. B3 is a motion to approve the treasurer's report for the month of July 31st, 2016. And B4 is a motion to approve the board secretary's certification to the Cedar Grove Board of Education pursuant to the code that no line item account has encumbrances and expenditures which in total exceed the line item appropriation in violation of the code, and further pursuant to the code, no major account or fund has been overexpended in violation of the code. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Berger?
Yes.
Mr. Shoner? Aye. Mr. Mandel?
Aye.
Mrs. Dye?
Yes. Under business, can I have a motion for B5 through B13?
So moved.
Second?
B5 is a motion to approve the 2016-2017 parental contract for student transportation for the student number listed for the dollar amount listed below. B6 is a motion to approve the subscription bus contract for the parent of student number listed therein and the amount listed prorated for the 2016-2017 school year. B7 is a motion to accept the generous donation from the MMS FSA of 1 HP high-speed laptop at the cost of approximately $400. The item was donated to enhance and enrich the MMS Makers Club and Tech Club programs. B8 is a motion to accept the generous donation from the Cedar Grove Education Association in the amount of $1,800 for North End and South End schools. B9 is a motion to retroactively approve the Wizards Sports Club application to use the Cedar Grove Memorial Middle School Gym on October 1st, 2016. B10 is a motion to accept the generous donation from Investors Bank of $2,906.25. These funds will be used towards the annual art installation and the senior lunch at the Cedar Grove High School. B11 is a motion to appropriate extraordinary aid and non-public transportation funds to modify the 2016-17 budget in the amount listed. B12 is a motion to authorize the business administrator to enter into a cooperative pricing agreement with the Essex Regional Education Services Commission for purchase of goods and services. And B13 is a motion to approve ML Inc.'s payment application number 7 in the amount listed therein. Payment for this application will be from the Cedar Grove Board of Ed 2014 bond referendum. Any discussion?
I would just say that the Makers Club, I was here last week, and Mr. DeCourt came through the Makers Club and what they're doing is very exciting. It's a lot of fun, and that's my only comment.
It's so exciting that they actually had an amazing turnout where they had to actually split it into 2 sections where they're going to have, they'll do the program from, I think it's like October to January, and then from February to May, just so they could include all of the students.
Which is exciting.
Absolutely.
That's what you want.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anything else? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Berger?
Yes.
Mr. Shoner,
Aye.
Mr. Mandela,
Aye.
Mrs. Dye.
Yes. There's a lot of personnel there, okay. Under personnel. Can I have a motion for, okay, 1 second, what the heck, S1 through S20? We'll go for them.
Yay. So moved.
Second?
All right. S1 is a motion to approve the superintendent's professional development plan for the 2016-2017 school year. S2 is a motion to approve Dr. Frank Cocciola, all right, as mentor to the superintendent for the 2016-2017 school year at a cost not to exceed $3,500. S3 is a motion to appoint the following staff in accordance with the state emergent hiring start date procedures. S4 is a motion to approve Nancy Salucci, a North End math leave replacement teacher, at the rate listed therein, effective October 17th. S5 is a motion to approve the following staff members for substitute lunch duty retroactive to September 12th, 2016. S6 is a motion to approve the following staff members for AM or PM bus duty at the rate listed therein, at the curriculum rate retroactive to September 12th, 2016. S7 is a motion to approve the following staff members for morning care at the curriculum rate retroactive to September 12th, 2016. S8 is a motion to approve the following staff members for developing curriculum enrichment binders with Concord Mathematics retroactive to July 6th to the 8th, 2016 at the rate listed at the rate of $50 per day. S9 is a motion to retroactively approve Nancy, Leostakis? All right, I apologize, as a one-on-one after-school aide at MMS at a rate of $35 per hour. S10 is a motion to approve Christopher Kinney as the NCLB Title I Coordinator, the amount listed therein, as per the NCLB 2016-2017 grant submission. S11 is a motion to approve the following substitute nurse for the 2016-2017 school year at the rate listed therein. S12 is a motion to reimburse the following school-based volunteers for fingerprinting expenses as per policy 9180, the rate listed therein. S13 is a motion to approve the following as school volunteers. S14 is a motion to approve Jeremy Lugameno, MMS Technology tenured staff member, to receive a mentoring fee reimbursement. S15 is a motion to accept the notice of retirement of Kathy D. Marsico, Memorial Middle School nurse, effective January 1st, 2017. S16 is a motion to approve Lauren Petro at 0.7 FTE with benefits at the rate listed therein, retroactive to September 12th, 2016, as ESL teacher for the 2016-2017 school year. S17 is a motion to approve Jessica Ingrazia at 0.83 FTE with benefits at the rate listed therein, retroactive to September 12th, 2016, as special ed teacher for the 16-17 school year. S18 is a motion to authorize attendance at the following events. It's a lot of events. We like that. S19 is a motion to approve the following leave of absence. And S20 is a motion to approve the following students for classroom observation. Any discussion?
I have a question on S4. It says North End math leave replacement teacher, but do we have a math teacher at North End, or is that?
Well, it's for Mrs. Misha, Deanna Misha, so
It's really for
math
fourth
leave,
grade?
It's fourth grade, leave
Okay.
replacement would be a more accurate way.
And then I just have a question on S12, if it was just a typo. It's only off by $1, but I just wanted to see, we have the first person's at $34.20 and the other two are at $35.20.
It's a valid question, I'll have to look into that. I'm not sure if it's a typo, or I can't see why it would be $1
Dollar off.
different.
So I just want
I'll
to,
find out.
could we still approve it?
Yeah, how do we,
We can,
can we just say we're approving it at the rate listed per our policy?
let's approve it as is, and if there is a discrepancy, we will
We'll just,
put it on the next agenda.
okay.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Burke.
Yes.
Mr. Shoner. Aye. Mr. Mandela.
Aye.
Mrs. Dye.
Yes. Under contracts, can I have a motion for S21?
So moved.
Second.
S21 is a motion to approve the following contracts for the 2016-2017 school year for special education students as recommended by the Director of Special Services. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Burke.
Yes.
Mr. Shoner. Aye. Mr. Mandela.
Aye.
Mrs. Dye.
Yes. The meeting is open to the public for comment on items on or off the agenda. Oops.
Yeah. Yeah.
You gotta be all official.
And the microphone is there.
Well, members of the board, Madam President, I wanted to take an opportunity to introduce myself. I'm Frank Casciola. Earlier in your agenda, you approved me to be a mentor, as the resolution reads, to really work with the superintendent on some issues that you've identified. I've met with Mr. Featherman twice before tonight's meeting. I reviewed your action plan, your goals, the issues that you've identified, and looking at everything and looking at the superintendent's evaluations in the last couple of years, I can assure you that I think we're going to meet, if not surpass, all of those goals and objectives within the timeframes that you've established. Part of what you've asked me to do is to provide you with a bi-monthly report. I will send the first one to you, Madam President, on Friday, and then in that monthly report, I have a schedule of when the others would follow, and I would think that you would then distribute to the rest of the board members. And in the time period that I'm working with Mr. Featherman, if there's any time that you want me to come in and meet with the full board, we could do that. Or with you as president, I certainly would come in with you or anyone you designate to meet with me. So I'm happy to be here. Sitting here tonight, it's like a dual-edged sword for me. I was a superintendent 25 years. I remember now why I retired. However, on the other hand, I miss the action, the goal setting, the problem solving, the conflict resolution, the personnel. It's what drove me for a very long time. So kind of a dual-edged sword. So I'm happy to have been sitting here tonight. And I will again send it to you on Friday morning, distribute it. And anything else you'd like to know from me or ask me right now, certainly, I'm here. I stayed this long, so a little longer. If there's anything you'd like to ask.
I just have a question, sort of like what, I'm just trying to get an understanding of when we say mentor, like our idea might be different of what, because what as a board member, what I feel in this capacity is just, I felt that Mr. Featherman didn't have someone to talk to bounce off, even things that might be frustrating him or things to review. He took on this role and jumped right in 3 years ago for us and did a lot of things. And I just, I'm in the corporate world, we always have somebody to get us through. And I felt that we didn't give him those tools in the beginning that I think is very helpful. So is that?
I don't want to get too much into the personnel issue, but mentor is a very misleading word here.
That's why I'm asking.
Because teachers, all your professional teachers need a mentor. There's a formal definition of a mentor by the DOE. New administrators, principals, vice principals, superintendents, they need a mentor, not here in that role. More of a coaching role. I appreciate the fact also that you mentioned that working alone is very different. I worked in a small district like this for 20 years as a superintendent, 42 years in total. And as a superintendent, basically, I had my secretary to talk to, administrative assistant, if you like, and no one else.
Right.
I could see that, and I wish there was someone there in a secondary role. I provide that role, and the only thing I can work towards is the way it was explained to me and defined in the manner in which you were seeking someone to work with your superintendent. So if you feel that there's a specific thing you'd like me to do, that's fine. Right now, I'm going to address exactly the action plan that you've developed, and we spoke about 2 occasions that we met. And yes, I will be there in whatever capacity the superintendent feels is beneficial for him, and whatever capacity you feel is beneficial for you. Your school district has an excellent reputation. There's certainly nothing involved in this whole issue that has any negative aspect or connotation
Right.
to your educational program.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
sure you'll continue to move forward in that vein. A great reputation, things are going beautifully. The few things that are in the action plan, we'll take care of them. And And then in whatever other capacity you'd like me to handle things, I can, again, come and meet with you as a full board if you like, or Madam President with you, if you like. That's how I'll handle it, okay?
Great, thank you.
Thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you, we appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Yes, thank you very much for staying.
Yeah, I know.
Nice
I
meeting you.
hope you don't have a
picked
long
good-
drive.
You picked a good meeting.
Well, thanks for the ethics review.
Remember, 5 Cs.
Right.
Anyone else wishing to speak? All right, I close that portion of the meeting. Future meeting announcements, October 18th, which is next week already. Here, 8 PM, executive session 7, and then November 15th, same place, same time, 8 PM, regular session.
That's why, before we adjourn, I just want to make sure, did you realize that our meeting was next week? You'll have our goals ready for next week?
Yes, I initially thought I was gonna be doing this next week.
Oh, okay.
I had that in the.
Because normally we're 2 weeks apart, so I didn't know if you knew that. So I didn't want to hold you that till next week if you didn't know it was a week apart.
The agenda setting meeting with the board president takes place on what day? Thursday? No problem.
Okay, great,
You got it.
okay.
All right, anything further? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Burke,
Yes.
Mr. Shoner, aye. Mr. Mandela,
Aye.
Mrs. Dye.
Yes. Have a good evening. Meeting is ended.